Уважаемые коллеги,
Dear colleagues, I would also like to welcome guests of our summit, African leaders and heads of countries presiding over the G20, Organization of Islamic Cooperation, and the Caribbean Community. I would like to extend gratitude to the President of the South African Republic for the organization of such a representative forum. 5 years ago, the leaders of BRICS states met with African countries for the first time. Since then, our 5 BRICS partners and African countries have substantially strengthened and expanded their cooperation in economic, political, and humanitarian fields. Today, Africa is one of the most vibrant regions of the world. According to the UN estimates, by 2050, the population of the continent will account for 2.5 billion people. The level of urbanization is growing. According to estimates, the share of people living in cities will grow up to 60% by 2050. Internal African market and consumer demand are growing. BRICS states and African countries are confronted with similar development challenges. In 2015, the UFA summit saw the adoption of a large-scale BRICS strategy for economic partnership. I believe we should consider ways to engage our African partners to the work in each of these areas which we have decided: economy, finances. Russia has always attached priority attention to the development of relations with African states. These relations are founded on many years of friendship and mutual assistance. Recently, we have had a number of top-level contacts, including with leaders, many of the leaders present here in this hall. Last year, mutual trade between Russia and African states grew by over 25%. The supply of volumes of food products grew by 38%, that of metals by 30%, cars and equipment by 24%. Russian business circles are showing interest in working with African partners in various fields, including agriculture, industry, healthcare, the development of mass communications, geology, and subsoil use. Let me cite just a few examples of cooperation between Russian companies and countries present at this forum. Just yesterday, we discussed with the President of Angola our joint work carried out by Angolan companies and Alrosa company that is developing diamond-filled Katoka, which accounts for 6% of global diamond production. In Burundi, joint venture has been set up to produce light equipment, including for the purposes of export to Eastern Africa. In Senegal, projects are being implemented in the area of agriculture, poultry processing, and fish processing plants are being built. Let me stress that Russia is planning to step up its assistance to the development of national energy sectors of African states. With a number of countries such as Angola, Mozambique, and Gabon, we are implementing promising oil and gas projects. As for the nuclear sector, Russia is a technological leader in this field, thus offering to our African countries the possibility to set up the whole nuclear power sectors on a turnkey basis. The cooperation agreements for the peaceful application of nuclear power have been signed with a number of regions, and the work has reached the practical implementation with some of the countries. All of these projects will be of strategic importance for Africa because, according to various estimates, up to 600 million people at this continent still have no access to electricity. A substantial number of Russian initiatives provide for the localization of production on the territory of Africa, including the construction of spare parts and the construction of assembly facilities. The implementation of such joint projects will contribute to the strengthening of industrial capabilities, support local businesses, create new and well-paid jobs. On the whole, it will increase the living standards of the population and address various social problems of African states. Russia is interested in deepening cooperation with African regional and sub-regional organizations. First of all, with the African Union, with the South African Development Community. In 2017, Russia's assistance to Africa exceeded $1 billion. Russia's contribution into the World Food Programme Fund is growing. Russia is the fifth largest contributor to the UNIDO Development Fund. Substantial resources are contributed to the World Health Organization to counter non-contagious diseases at the African continent. And our work in the area of fighting Ebola virus has turned out to be extremely efficient. Russia has always been training professional labor force for the African continent. Thousands of Africans are obtaining education in Russia, and we will continue to step up cooperation in this field. As I conclude, I would like to inform you of the fact that we are working on the idea of holding Russia-Africa Summit with the participation of heads of African states. This summit could be predated by the meetings with relevant notable entrepreneurs, experts, and public figures. I am planning to discuss that with the representatives of African countries. I thank you for your attention.